Perfect, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
All right.
Would you like me to get my witness? White's okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
That's great. Thank you.
Great. Yeah.
What? Oh, I have two. I just heard two on some. Can you use this one? So I know the station is gonna start. Oh, really? Oh, gotcha. I mean, you can, but it's just to be like, sit here. All right.
I was gonna say, you. So
No.
Yeah.
Your mic is off right now. When you want to start speaking, you can just press push. And when this turns up off, yeah, should be good.
Please remain seated and come to order. This court is now in session.
Good morning.
Morning.
The record will reflect that all counsel are present, counsel and the defendant are present. Witness Mr. Garber is still on the stand. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You may continue with your cross-examination. Ms. Hopkins.
Thank you very much, Ron. Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Yesterday, you testified about finding blood inside the interior of the house that belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Millete.
Objection made.
Is that
Also,
Whether or not the house belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Millete or the blood.
okay, counsel, you can rephrase.
All right, yeah, thank you. Today, you testified about 3413 Los Gatos, Paseo Los Gatos in Chula Vista. This house belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Larry Millete. And so the question that I have for you is, did you find any blood inside the garage?
The house number 3413,
Okay, thank you. for
Paseo Los Gatos, is not the house that we searched on the 23rd.
Okay, so which house did you search on the 23rd?
The address of the house that we searched on the 23rd is 2413 Paseo Los Gatos.
Okay, so 2413 Paseo Los Gatos is the house or real estate that belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Larry Millete?
That's the house that we searched, yes.
Okay, but you do not know if that house belongs to them.
I don't know who the house belongs to now.
Okay. When you went to that property, that house, did you not go there pursuant to a search warrant?
That's correct. We were there in pursuant of a search warrant.
And the address on the search warrant gave you 2413 Paseo Los Gatos?
That is where I was directed, yes.
Okay. And you found blood inside that house, correct?
That's correct.
Did you find blood in the garage attached to that house?
No,
How about the backyard? Did you find blood in the backyard?
there's no blood observed in the backyard, no.
Now, in the front of this house, there was a table and some chairs and umbrellas there. Do you remember?
Yes,
Did you find blood in that area?
I did not see any blood in that area.
Now, were you part of a team that went there to investigate, or you were just called, but you were not part of the team to do or to pursuant to the search warrant?
I was part of a team.
Okay, how many people were in the team?
I would say approximately 8 or 9 of us.
Did you take the photographs before the team started the search?
That's our procedure, yes.
And did you take any photographs during the search itself?
Yes,
Did you also take photographs after the team completed their search and seizure?
yes.
And how many photographs total did you take?
For that specific search warrant, I don't know the exact number.
Could you give us an estimate?
300 photographs.
While you were doing that photographing and receiving the items that were seized, were there additional Chula Vista police officers that joined you?
Yes, as we discussed, I was part of a team.
Did the team arrive at one time, or did they trickle in as you were doing the photographing?
We arrived at one time.
Were you assisted by any members of the NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigative Service?
No,
Were you assisted by any members of the FBI?
no,
So exclusively the detectives and the officers that were present were members of the Chula Vista Police Department.
that is correct.
Were you part of the officers that arrived at that same address on January the 10th, 2021?
No, I was not.
Are you aware that there were certain police officers that searched the house on January the 10th, 2021?
I'm not aware of the activities that took place on January 10th.
So you're not also aware if there were any reports that were written prior to your doing your forensic studies on January 23, 2021?
No, I did not look at any reports prior to that.
Did you speak to Mr. Larry Millete on January 23, 2021?
Yes, I did.
But tell us about your conversation with him.
Objection, hearsay. Not a
Sustained.
police officer.
Okay, so what did you tell Mr. Millete?
I was
Objection relevant.
Counsel.
Well, you were, what's the purpose? Excuse me.
There's an objection. What is your response?
I'm sorry.
Objected on relevancy grounds?
Correct.
And what is
Okay.
your response to that, to me?
Okay. Your Honor, I'm trying to determine the scope and the completeness of that investigation that day. And it appears that the officer was actually the one who may have spoken to him first before the whole team went in. So I just want to explore that to see if, in fact, he was able to elicit or determine or obtain any information that would be relevant to the investigation. That Mr. Millete was, in fact, either involved or maybe he was an suspect in the case at that time. So we're still trying to discover the evidence that they have that they're implicating Mr. Millete into this alleged disappearance of his wife.
My objection would be these Penal Code Section 866 and saying grounds would be relevance. And I think the question could be asked whether or not he was tasked with taking any kind of statement from the defendant, but to that extent, I don't think that that was his job. He's not described that's his job. So it's not relevant.
The objection is sustained. You can rephrase if you want to ask what his role was. It appears as a forensic specialist, his role is to take photographs. He's outlined what his duties are. So I'm going to sustain the objection. You can attempt to inquire further regarding just what he did. Additionally, the witness has
Thank you, Your Honor.
Additionally, counsel, the witness has testified that he is not a sworn peace officer.
Is there any reason why you spoke to Mr. Larry Millete at
Yeah.
that time?
Yes, there is.
What's the reason?
I was instructed to recover a reference mouth swab from Mr. Millete.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
What procedure did you follow to do that?
I explained to Mr. Millete what I was going to do, and I proceeded to do that.
So how many mouth swabs did you obtain from him?
One mouth swab consisting of 2 sterile cotton swabs.
Did you also take any additional mouth swabs to the civilian people inside the house?
No, I did not.
So you did not take the mouth swab of Mr. Millete's father, correct?
Correct.
As well as the children and his mother.
That is correct as well.
What did you do with the mouth swabs after you obtained them from Mr. Millete?
Those mouth swabs were packaged in a manila envelope. That envelope was transported back to the police department. It was secured in our exam room until I had time to document and package that item. After that, it was submitted into our evidence and property room.
If I understood you correctly, the mouth swabs were, after you took them from Mr. Millete's mouth, you put them in a preservative, or?
No,
So you just took the swab and then put it where?
the swab was packaged in a manila envelope.
Manila envelope?
Correct.
How long were they in the Manila envelope before you were able to transfer them to the right person?
Objection beyond the scope. Relevance.
Counsel, your response?
He's forensic specialist, Your Honor. And so I want to make sure the procedure he was following as a forensic specialist has been in fact followed.
There is an objection that your questions are beyond the scope of the direct examination. And I do not recall Ms. Bowles eliciting any testimony regarding DNA collection during her direct examination. So, Ms. Bowles, what did you respond to?
Beyond the scope,
Yeah.
I did not elicit any testimony with regard to collection or analysis of biological.
May I respond to that?
Yes.
And I'd be happy actually to a sidebar if that might be helpful to the court as well. I'll submit to the court.
All right, then we'll go sidebar. Report it. just let me know. The objection is sustained. Next question.
Officer, did you at any time after January 23, 2021, come back to the same address and take additional photographs?
Yes, I did.
In what date was that?
That was July 1st of 2021.
And what was the reason for your trip to the same property?
Objection beyond the scope.
Counsel?
Okay, Your Honor. Well, I just, did you take photographs?
Counsel,
Excuse me, Your Honor.
respond to the objection.
Your Honor, this is a forensic specialist for the Chula Vista Police Department, and he stated his role as a forensic specialist. He's supposed to take photographs. I'm just now exploring what other photographs he took.
What is the relevance of him going there on a future date?
I
He
just went-
testified as to what he did in January 2020.
I just for completeness and purpose of the appearances of the possibly you have, as they claim, a crime scene. So we want to see if there's any alteration or difference or repairs or whatever. So I would like to see those photographs as well. Make sure that, we're looking at the same photographs that he took.
The objection is sustained. It is beyond the scope of direct examination, and your questions are aimed at discovery, and that's a violation of penal code. The preliminary hearing is not to be used for discovery purposes.
Okay, Your Honor. Based on your ruling, then that would be, I do not have any more questions for this witness, unless counsel is going to do a redirect and I should be allowed to do a recross.
Of course,
Thank you, Your Honor.
redirect.
Mr. Garber, do you, just to clarify, what is your job at the scene, in this particular case, at the scene of the search warrant on January 23rd?
My duties were to document the crime scene using photographs and sketching methods and to recover evidence.
You, on cross-examination, there was a question asked of you about a recovery of a swab from the bathroom. Do you recall that question?
Yes, I do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it fair to say then that your job is simply to collect a swab from that biological evidence that's pointed out to you essentially by a detective?
Objection, reading.
Overruled.
Is at this, I'll rephrase it. When a detective locates what they believe to be biological evidence, what is generally your job at that point?
My job is to recover the biological evidence.
And so in the case of, for example, a potential drop of blood, what would be your job, or what was your job when a suspected drop of blood or blood material was found in the bathroom?
I recovered a sample of that substance using sterile cotton swabs.
And is it your job then to request to have it tested?
No, it is not.
Is it your job to find out what the results are from the analysis?
No, it is not.
Is that the detective's job?
That's correct.
And so if the detective submitted that to the sheriff's department for analysis, is it your job to examine the results of that analysis?
No, it is not.
So whether or not that blood came back to Maya Millete, that's not something that you even have information about.
That is correct.
And I want to just ask you a couple of other questions. Documentary evidence that is located at the scene of a search warrant, is that something that you also take a photograph of?
Yes, it is.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes.
Kind of may I approach the witness with the exhibits?
Yes.
I'm going to show you a series of some photographs. They're Courts Exhibit 20. And looking at 20-1, do you recognize that photograph to be a photograph you took on January 23rd?
Yes, I recognize this photograph.
Checking that up on the screen, 20-1. Photograph that's projected up on the screen, the same as the exhibit you're looking at in front of you.
Yes, it is.
Now, is it your job to strike that? Is the detective determines where that evidence is and then points that out to you to take a photograph of?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and then do you oftentimes then, once it's collected back at the station, take another photograph of it?
Yes.
And what would this be a photograph of?
This is a photograph of a page from a notebook that was found inside the main bedroom.
Photograph 20-2. You recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And looking at 20-2, and oops, I'm sorry, is that a document that you located at the residence
Yes, it is.
and then took a photograph of later on?
Yes.
20-3, you recognize that photo?
Yes, I do.
And is the photo up on the screen the same as 20-3 in the binder in front of you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what's that a photograph of?
It's a photograph of a rifle and shotgun that was located within the safe in the first floor closet.
What about 20-4? You recognize what that is a photograph of?
Yes, I do.
And is 20-4 up on the screen the same as the photograph in the binder?
Yes, it is.
What is that a photograph of?
This is a photograph of that rifle that was recovered from the safe. This photograph was taken during my evidence documentation processing while at the police department.
So once you collect the evidence at the scene, you take it back to the police department,
That's correct.
and then do you do a second set of photos then to document whatever was collected?
Yes,
So this photograph would be part of that series of photos.
correct.
Looking at 20-5, do you recognize what that is a photograph of?
Yes, I do.
What is that a photograph of?
What's projected is the same that's in the binder. This is a photograph of a computer screen in Laura's bedroom.
And 20-6, do you recognize what's up on the screen to be the same photograph? 20-6 in the binder in front of you?
Yes, it is.
And what is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph of the computer screen. It's a closer photograph of the search history.
And the 20-1 through 20-6, those are all photos that you took.
Yes, they are.
All right, thank you. I have no other questions.
Redirect. I'm sorry, recross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer, did you also take photographs of the other firearms that you took that day?
Yes, I did.
The letter that was from,
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
it's okay. That letter that you just stated that you photographed, Where was that located? Inside the bedroom? What part of the bedroom did you find that?
That letter was recovered from the dresser that is adjacent to the door, the entry door of the main bedroom.
It was inside a drawer, right?
That's correct.
Did you find any other items that contained also some letters there?
I recovered another letter, yes.
Yes, okay. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
No, Your Honor, come on.
Any witness be excused or subject to reading.
Excused.
Please, excuse me.
So that completes your testimony. Thank you very much. Next witness.
Your Honor, we'll call Marital.
Oh, also, before you call your next witness, thank you, sir. I want to reiterate my order from yesterday. There was a motion to exclude witnesses, and I made that order so that family members who are testifying are not to discuss their testimony with other witnesses. And after a witness has completed their testimony, the parties have agreed that that witness can then stay to watch the rest of the proceedings. Now, obviously, if I order that you cannot be present to see the testimony, that means you can't listen to it or watch it as it's being live streamed, because that defeats the purpose of my order. So please communicate to your witnesses that they are not to observe these proceedings in any manner prior to the testimony. Is that understood?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Pardon?
Please repeat this form.
Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the testimony provided in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may go to the stand. Please state your full name and your last name for the record.
My name is Mary Chris. Last name July, it's Maricris. July is Drouillet.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Lay, I want to show you a photograph and ask you if you can identify someone for us. 3-1, which is up on the screen. And Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
To show her the exhibit?
Yes.
You may.
Do you recognize the person up on the photograph?
Yes, my sister,
And what is her name?
May, last name Millete.
And wait, Your Honor, excuse me. I just wanted to verify. I think we have a 3-1. That's another picture. Can I just show it as a
Yes.
They just changed the numbering. I just needed that for clarification. Thank you.
Do you know how old May was as of January 7th, 2021?
39 years old.
And at the time, was she married?
Yes.
To who?
My brother-in-law, Larry Millete.
To see Larry here in court today?
Yes.
Point to him and tell us what he's wearing for the record.
He's in a black suit with a mask on, and he's in the middle, sitting in the middle.
The record reflect that the witness identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 3 brothers and I have 2 sisters.
And I'm going to show you 3-2 and ask you if you recognize 3-2 to be the same photograph that's in front of you. You may have to just turn the page there. Got the same photograph that's projected up on the screen?
Yes.
And is that a photograph of your brothers and sisters? Your brothers and sisters, and your parents?
Correct.
Can you kind of just identify for us who everyone is and maybe even do it in order of kind of
So,
who's the
yeah.
oldest?
Well,
So-
maybe she can just start from the left
Right.
to the right, the back row.
Okay.
So yeah, that's me in the very left, and then my dad, my mom, and my sister May, my sister Jane, and then the bottom is my brother JP, JR, and Mike.
And who's the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Where did you and your brothers and sisters grow up?
We grew up in the Philippines.
And when did you come to the United States?
I was almost 21 years old back in 1994, and the rest of it was me and my dad, and then the rest of the family, they came in March of 1995. We went to Hawaii.
And you were 21 when, how old were you then when your family came over?
21 years.
21. Who's next in order after you?
JP.
And this might be a test of all the siblings, how old all of them are, but how close in age are you and JP?
Almost 2 years.
And then who is next after JP?
Jane, my sister Jane, and then my brother Mike, and my sister May, and my brother JR.
And I'm sorry, so where is Mike in the order?
He's the fourth. Oh, I mean, sorry, he's the third.
And
No,
then,
it's his fourth. Sorry.
that's okay. So it goes, you're the oldest, then JP, and then Mike,
Then Jane,
and then Mike,
then Mike, yes. It's
and then May. And then-
May, yeah, and JR.
And tell us a little bit about you and your siblings growing up, or at that point, I guess you were already 21, but your siblings were still a little bit younger. Your role in your siblings' life in Hawaii.
So basically, me and my dad was the only one working when we were in Hawaii because the rest of the family was going to school. But I have a full-time job, and my brother JP also has some jobs, and my sister also has my sister Jane have a part-time job. But basically it was me and my dad just helping with the whole household and paying the rent, the car, utilities, and all.
How long did you live in Hawaii?
For me and my dad, we were there in 1994 till 2005. But the rest of the family, just can't remember when they left Hawaii, but each one, my brother left Hawaii first to California, and then my sister Jane,
Which brother? I'm sorry.
my brother JP, and then my sister Jane, I believe, and then my brother Mike and my brother JP, and then I believe my sister May was the last one that leaves Hawaii. She stayed with me first.
When did you first meet Larry?
I believe in 1999, possibly. I just don't know. It's either 98 or 99.
How old was your sister, do you remember?
17.
So May was 17,
Yes.
and how old was Larry?
He's possibly 17 too. I'm not sure, 16, 17. They were in high school. So,
So May and Larry met in high school,
correct, yes.
and do you recall when they got married?
Yes, we were there. It was May, I believe. I don't know exactly the date, but I remember where in Hawaii it was in one of the parks in Hawaii, and it was an outside park.
How old was your sister?
She turned 18.
And was Larry, if you recall, was Larry younger or older than May?
They are a few months younger than her.
So May was 18 when she got married to Larry.
Correct.
Can I have her date of birth?
Do you have,
May 1st, 1983 or 82. 81, I'm sorry.
May 1st, 1981?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm not exactly sure.
I come from a big family too.
we can do a stipulation as well if we need to. So fairly young when they got married.
Correct, yes.
And where was May living at that time?
She was with us, yeah, with me. She was living with me and my dad and the rest of the family, yes.
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii, yes.
And so as the oldest sibling, how involved were you in May's upbringing? In other words, her life when she was in school and that kind of thing.
Well, I felt like I was their mom at that time because, I was more responsible for them and, for school, give them allowances. At times when they had straight A's, I would encourage them. I would pay $20 for each A that they have, and that's how, we got them to get those good grades. But yeah, I was basically, bringing in, I was actually the one that's making the money at that time.
Where was your mom?
She was with us, but she's, coming from the Philippines, she has hard times, she doesn't speak good English, so we just have her stay at home.
So if there was communication, for example, with teachers or with the school, is that something that you would take that role to communicate with your siblings, teachers, and?
Correct, but then a lot of them, she's very independent, and she didn't really have that much problem, at school, so didn't really have that much involvement with the school, but, she's doing great at school, so she's just taking care of her own.
When you say she, are you talking about May?
May, yes,
Now, some people refer to her as Maya.
correct, yes,
Okay. What is her actual given birth name?
May.
And what is Maya?
That's her nickname. We have a lot of nicknames for everybody, so I'm probably gonna say, yeah.
Okay. Is there another nickname that your siblings refer to May by?
We call her Tammy.
And how would you spell that?
It's a Tammy.
And why is it that you call her that?
Oh, It's a childhood name. It's kind of funny because, you know, we all have some kind of funny names. Because like when we were growing up, she has this like really sharp chin, and in Filipino, we call it tummy. So and then it revoked to, instead of calling her tummy, which is when we got here, we call her Tommy.
Do you happen to know how to spell that word that you just said in Tagalog?
It's Tammi, I believe. Yeah.
Just so the court reporter can write that down. So that might be a name that you would, for example, in text messages, did you have her in your phone by the name Tammy?
Yes.
Is that just more of a within your family nickname?
Correct. Just between siblings.
And you said all of your siblings have nicknames for one another that you all refer to each other by?
Correct. Yes.
You also mentioned May with school. How was she as a, in terms of academics?
Well, in grade school, she's always been, you know, the leader. She's, you know, she's usually the first honor or second honor growing up, and you know, when she was in grade school back in the Philippines, and the same thing. You know, she's doing. Sometimes she can get A's and B's, so she's always been the smart one.
And what about in terms of activities? What types of activities did your sister like to do?
Right. So she did have after school curriculum activities. She likes like the dancing, and she would go to conferences that the school, that she would represent the school for conferences. She's like on honor roll. She's on the honor society. So yeah, she's always been that smart person.
And what about, was in terms of subjects in school and things that she liked to do, what about writing? Was that something she would do commonly?
Correct. She does. She actually wrote a book. Well, you know, like one of the books, but it didn't really get to read it. I think she still have it out there. But yeah, she does like writing. She likes reading. She has she reads a lot, and she also has a diary. So she does keep a diary.
Was that something that she commonly did over the years, write in a diary?
Correct. Yes.
After, had May already graduated from high school when she married Larry? Do you remember?
I think I don't really exactly remember.
Okay, that's okay.
Mhm.
But you knew Larry from before they actually were married,
Yes.
so at least 20 years?
Before they got married?
No, as of now, I mean, you've known Larry for at least 20 years, is that fair to say?
Almost, yes.
At some point, you said that you moved then to, did you move to California?
Correct, yes.
Okay, where did you move to?
We stayed at their house in Morietta.
Whose house did you stay at?
Larry and May.
So when did they leave Hawaii? If you remember, or even just kind of a roundabout.
Well, Larry left first because he was he went to the Navy, so he went to Virginia, I believe. So they did the training, and my sister stayed with me, still in Hawaii. So she went to school, college in Hawaii, and then after his training, then she moved to either Virginia or South. I can't remember.
Somewhere
What state? Yeah,
somewhere on the East Coast.
correct. Yes.
So after they got married, Larry enlisted in the Navy. Is that what you're telling us?
Correct. Yes.
And May stayed behind in Hawaii while he was on the East Coast for a period of time.
Correct. Yes.
Did May graduate from college?
Not in Hawaii.
where did she graduate from college?
UCSD.
So how long, if you know, were May and Larry then on the East Coast?
I don't recall.
Would you say a year, 5 years, 10 years?
Not that long, maybe a year or two, and then they moved to San Diego.
And where in San Diego did they move to?
I don't really remember exactly where. It's because I was still in Hawaii at that time.
And did they buy a house or were they renting, or do you know?
It was a housing, the Navy housing, the first that I know of.
You mentioned at some point staying with them in Murrieta. Did they then move to Murrieta at some point?
Correct, yes.
And how long did you live with them in Murrieta?
From October 2005 till possibly March of 2006.
And where did May and Larry then move from Murrieta?
San Diego.
Where did they move to?
It's like,
Are you familiar with the house that 2413 Paseo Los Gatos?
correct, yes.
When did they move into that house? Is that the house that you're referring to that they moved to from Murrieta?
No,
So they had another place before they got to Paseo Los Gatos?
correct.
Do you know how long they were at that, the place in San Diego prior to getting to Paseo Los Gatos?
A few years, I believe. Maybe, I don't know how many years.
And then at some point then moved into the house that they bought off Paseo Los Gatos.
Correct.
Do you know what year that was or roundabout?
No, not really.
Would you say they've been there, as of 2021, have they been there 5, 10 years? Maybe even thinking back about,
Maybe 5 years. I'm not 100% sure. I lost track of the time.
okay. How many children did May have?
3.
And who's the oldest?
Laramie,
And how old is Laura May?
she just turned 13.
On what day?
January 10th.
And who's her second child?
Milani,
And how old is Melanie?
she's 11.
And when did she turn 11, if you know?
June 30.
And then who's her youngest?
Lazarus, Tristan,
And how old is Lazarus?
6.
Do you know his birthday?
October 17th.
You said Lazarus Tristan does he go by both those names?
We call him just Lazarus.
What did your sister call him?
Tristan.
Over the years, growing up and growing into adulthood, what was your relationship like between you, your sister May, and your other siblings?
We're close. We try to spend most of the birthdays together, whatever we can. Sometimes if it's nothing to celebrate, we call each other, and sometimes we just go over and have a barbecue. So, but not to the point where, we will tell everything to them. But
You mentioned that JP came to California. In 2020, where was JP living?
Lakewood,
And is JP married?
yes.
And what is his wife's name?
Twix,
And
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh. Can you spell Trix?
Trix.
And then on to Mike. Did Mike eventually move to California as well?
Correct, yes.
And where in 2020 did Mike live?
I'm trying to remember the city, but it's also in Orange County. I can't remember. Close to Lakewood too.
Okay, and is Mike married?
Yes.
And what's his wife's name?
Giselle
Can you spell that?
is Gizelle.
And then what about your sister Jane? Did she move from Hawaii eventually to California as well?
Correct.
And in 2020, where was Jane living?
Cerritos.
And who did she live with?
Her husband Theodie.
Can you spell that?
It's a Teodie.
And then your brother JR, he also came from Hawaii and eventually moved to California as well.
Correct, yes.
And in 2020, was he living in California?
Correct.
Where was JR living?
San Diego.
Who did he live with?
His wife, Genesis.
And I'm not going to test you on all of the names of the children of all of your siblings or their birthdays, but between your siblings and all of their children, do you know about how many cousins? How many cousins there are among, so in other words, JP has children?
Correct. So it's 15, 17.
17 cousins?
Mhm.
Yes.
Sorry, you have to say
Yes,
yes or
I'm
no.
sorry, yes.
So 17,
We're going to break at 10:15.
okay. 17 cousins
Correct.
among all of your siblings, so counting all of the children of your siblings.
Correct, yes.
Did you, in 2020, did you spend some time together, your siblings and all of your children?
Yes.
And what were some of the types of things that you did during 2020?
We went out camping. We went to the river a few times, and to the lakes.
And there was something unusual that happened in 2020 in March that maybe directed some of how you chose to spend time?
Right. So it was COVID that hit 2020, and there was the state of California is going to do a lockdown. So we said we don't want to be locked down, so we went to the desert and went to camping.
A lot of outdoor activities.
Correct. Yes.
Prior to 2020, were those activities that you had done over the years with your siblings?
Correct.
So 2020 wasn't necessarily unique in terms of getting together with your siblings.
Yeah.
Here, we can break there.
Yes. Do that.
Remain seated. Come to order. This court is again in session.
Back on the record, counsel and defendant are present, the witness is on the stand. You may continue with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mary Chris, we were kind of talking about the year 2020 and some of the activities you and your siblings did with the children throughout the year. Was it common for someone to take photographs during those activities?
Of course, yes.
And was your sister May active on Facebook?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And were you friends with her on Facebook?
Yes,
And so were you privy to seeing some of the things that she would post on Facebook?
yes.
And what kinds of photos would she commonly post?
All the mainly activities, or she does have selfies and pictures of the family, kids.
Pictures of the kids?
Correct, yes.
Tell tell us a little bit about how you and your siblings would communicate. What was the main method of communication, or what is the main method of communication between you and your siblings?
We have a group messenger, so everybody's on that messenger.
And
The
what-
siblings, yes.
And what platform is that messenger on?
It's on a Facebook messenger.
So kind of a group thread with all the siblings?
Correct, yes.
And is that how you would plan a lot of these activities?
Correct, yes.
Did you talk on the phone much?
Not much. Only when necessary, but we do message each other mainly on the messenger.
Would you wanted to communicate with one of your siblings just individually, would you send text messages at all?
Correct, yes.
I want to kind of show you some photographs, and actually they're up in the binder in front of you. And I'm not going to project most of these photographs because they've got the children in them. But looking at 3-3, which is in front of you, do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
What is that a photograph of?
This is one of our camping, I believe in Glamis, with the nieces and the nephews.
And is this a photograph? It has kind of a date and location at the bottom of that. Is that something that you prepared, or that you kind of cross-referenced that date and information with?
I believe, we as a siblings, we put it together for it, for this.
And so March 23rd, 2020, does that appear to be an accurate time frame for when this picture was taken?
Yes.
Okay. And where was the picture taken?
In Glamis, California.
And what is Glamis?
It's an off-roading desert area where we go ride off-roads, quads and side-by-sides.
And about how far away is it from San Diego?
I believe it's 2.5 hours from San Diego.
Is there a town that it is closest to? That you can think of?
It's El Centro.
So down east.
Correct, yes.
And when you say side by side, what is that? You said you use quads.
It's well, we call it razors. So it's one of those like almost a car, like a sunrail kind of
Kind of almost like a dune
vehicle.
buggy,
Yes.
thing?
Yeah.
And then what is a quad?
The motorcycles. Yeah, it's like off-road motorcycles. Yeah.
One of those off-road vehicles that has four
4 wheels. Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about this Glamis trip in March of 2020. What was the nature of that?
Well, again, it's March, so it started with the COVID, so we wanted to get away with the, being a lockdown at that time. So, we told everybody, we're going out, we're going to go camping, and if anybody want to come and, join us, we went to camping, and it's, we just camping off in the desert area.
And so when you go to Glamis, do you camp?
We have a toy hauler. So it's a trailer where we have had beds on it, and the bathroom sits at a trailer. It's like an RV.
And when you say we, who are you referring to?
My husband Richard.
When in this photograph, 3-3, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 children are in that photograph.
Mm-hmm.
Who are?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Who are all those children? And you don't, not by name, but are those your nieces and nephews?
Correct. Yes.
Do you see May's children in that photograph?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just by kind of telling us what they're wearing, who
which one of May's children are in the photograph?
The one in the front to the right, wearing green shirt, is her oldest.
That's Laura.
Correct. And the second to the left, we're wearing blue shirt, is looks like Melanie.
And is Lazarus in that photograph?
It doesn't look like it, no.
Did in activities like this, did the cousins typically play together?
Correct, yes.
Laura and Melanie, did they play with their cousins as well?
Yes, all the time, yes.
Looking at 3-4, what is that a photograph of?
This is inside our toy hauler, where everybody is inside, cramped.
And when you say everybody,
Well, the cousins, most of the cousins.
and I
I'm
won't,
sorry, what do you call the trailer again?
Toy hauler. It's a toy hauler. It's HAULER.
tell us what a toy hauler is.
It's almost like an RV, but it does the seats folds up and then the bed goes up too. So we have like the racers gets inside, or like the quads to be able to get into inside the trailer.
And then is the toy hauler, is that something that can be hooked up to like a truck?
Correct. Yes.
So once you get out to the desert, the toy hauler is used to transport some of those motorcycles and things, off-road equipment.
Correct. Yes.
But then once they're out of the toy hauler, you can then utilize the toy hauler with, it's equipped with some beds.
Right. So it has beds, and it has the beds can fold into chair, and can have a table in there too. So we do have a kitchen, and we have a bathroom in it too.
When, kind of just going back to the Glamis trip, that was something that you and Richard had when your siblings would come to Glamis as well. Did they camp?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they get a hotel at Brawley. Now I remember the city. It's the Brawley.
Do you know how Brawley is spelled?
It's BRAWLEY.
And so going back to now this photograph in 3-4, where was this picture taken? Not the toy hauler itself, but what city were you in?
Lake Havasu.
Okay, the photo actually says Lake Elsinore. Do you know if you were in Lake Elsinore or in Lake Havasu?
Oh.
So this would have been May 25th, I guess Memorial Day weekend, 2020.
Council, let the witness establish the date and time.
It does say May 25.
Let me ask you, do you recall when this picture was taken?
We have so much pictures, but I can go with with the date. I got confused because the way one of my nieces, her shirt looks like she was wearing that too when we were at Lake Havasu. But when it says Lake Elsinore, we could have been in Lake Elsinore. Sorry, now I recall.
Okay.
So yeah, we did want to Lake Elsinore because it's May 25. We celebrated Labor Day. Was it Labor Day on the May, like last week of May? So we were at Lake Elsinore.
I think typically at the end of May is maybe Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day, okay, yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that trip, if you recall. Where did you go? Where did you stay? Who was
Right.
there?
So we went to Lake Elsinore. Again, we took the trailer. We do have a small boat. So we took that to the lake and we have everybody coming there too. And it was also my brother's birthday. So we kind of like celebrated there also. But we have most of the family members stayed with us. They came for one day, but my sister May and her family stayed with us in the trailer.
And when you say her family, who did that include?
Larry, my sister May, and the three kids.
So they stayed for how long, if you recall?
It's either 1 or 2 nights.
Did you notice anything about the way they were interacting at that time?
Not much. No.
Vegas.
Sorry. Thank you, Your Honor. Did you notice anything about the way Larry and May were interacting during that time?
No.
Did you, at some point, learn that your sister had moved out of her house for a period of time in May or June?
No.
At any point, did you have a conversation with her about that?
No.
At no point during 2020 at all?
Not that I know.
Then, prior to kind of going on to the next photo, tell us a little bit about how your interactions were with Larry and May up until that time. Did you?
Nothing unusual. It's just getting together, for camping and, being with the family.
Did you communicate with Larry at all, either through Facebook Messenger or through text message or phone calls?
Yes.
How did you communicate with Larry?
At that time, it's through phone call, phone call or text messages. He was more communicating to me at that time, calling and asking advices.
Did he communicate at all via social media?
No.
Was he on social media that you were aware of?
No.
When you say he would call and ask for advice, what kind of advice was he asking?
Marriage advice. So he was asking how I went through, with my separation with my kid's dad.
Okay, so you're married now?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and who are you married to now?
Richard.
And do you have children?
Correct.
How many children?
2.
Is Richard their father?
No.
Were you previously married to their father?
No.
Okay. But separated from, obviously we're in a relationship with him at some point and then separated from him?
Correct.
And so when did these phone calls with Larry begin where he was asking you for advice?
I don't exactly remember.
Would you say they began before 2020?
No.
Do you know what month in 2020 they began?
I don't recall. I have to go back on the text messages.
And so at some point, would you say it was towards the beginning of the year or towards the end of the year?
It's more like mid-year.
So fair to say it hadn't started when you were at this trip, the end of May 2020. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Had not.
Had not. The phone calls from Larry asking for advice had not began yet at the end of May, or do you recall?
I'm sorry, I don't really recall exactly when it started.
Looking at Courts Exhibit 3-5, also in the binder, do you recall where this photograph was taken?
Yes,
And where was this photograph taken?
Lake Havasu.
And do you recall what the dates were of this trip?
Yes, we started, I believe, in June 28th. And I believe when this picture was taken was probably our last day, July 2. So we celebrated Milan's birthday,
May's
second.
second time.
Yes.
And does anything about that time during that trip stand out to you in terms of the relationship between Larry and May?
Yes.
What was that?
They were kind of, could tell they were kind of fighting. They would leave us and they would go into the car and they would leave the camp and they'll be gone for quite a while, maybe an hour or two, and then they'll be back.
And this trip to Lake Havasu, we're all, tell us a little bit about the photo. What are we looking at in the photo? Who's in that photo? You
I
don't
have-
you don't have to name everyone.
Mainly my cousins and siblings and the in-laws. Yes. So cousins and, my brothers and my sisters.
So your brothers and your sisters and their children?
Correct.
And do you see May and Larry in the photograph?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And can you kind of describe what it is they're wearing, kind of, so the judge can kind of orientate to where they are?
So they're on,
The family, May and Larry and the family.
so they're more on the right side next, like a group. So my sister is actually wearing a blue bathing suit. And my niece, like flowered swim suit. Well, it's a long sleeve swimming wear. And Lazarus is actually the one that's holding a pail. A shovel. I'm sorry, it's a green shovel. So he's in the middle there, and Larry is actually behind my sister. He doesn't have a shirt on, and looks at Melanie as Larry is holding her onto his right arm.
And can you tell where May's arms are, or what she's doing with her arms?
Looks like she had it around Lara's
Which arm is around Laura?
left.
And then what is she doing with the right arm?
Right as with it looks like Lazarus' shoulder.
So during this trip, well, let me ask you this. With regard to your relationship with May, did she open up to you a lot about things that were going on personally with her?
Not much.
Did she discuss with you what was going on in her relationship with Larry?
No.
As we kind of try to figure out a time frame for when Larry began asking you for advice, do you recall whether or not around this time, when the trip to Lake Havasu, was he asking for advice around this time?
Correct, yes.
Tell us a little bit about what he would call and ask you.
Mainly, I mean, there's a lot, but just he would tell me how did I do it with my ex and how to move on. But he wanted to work it out with my sister. no matter what. He would actually, sometimes he would tell me what my sister is going to be doing or what she's been doing. But honestly, I wasn't really paying attention to it because I thought they would be able to work it out themselves.
Do you recall, did he ever say anything to you about a midlife crisis?
Correct, yes.
Tell us what he said about that.
That's just my sister is going through midlife crisis, so he will be asking me advices on what vitamins she needed to be taking or any supplement, or sometimes he would tell me he bought this supplements that she had to take, that kind of thing. And I remember him texting me what midlife crisis is, and there's like several steps on it. And he would tell me that my sister is going through the first, second steps, and she's going through it.
Describe what you mean that he texted you 9 steps. Describe that a little bit more. What was it exactly that he sent you?
It was like a picture of different steps on a midlife crisis and how to look for signs for midlife crisis. So that's what he took, like a screenshot, and then he sent it to me, and then so he would say, "This is your sister is going through this."
And what did you do in response to getting that?
Well, I didn't really believe him because my sister's like, he's just not going through that. But I just kind of told him, whatever you think is best.
So he talked to you about obtaining or actually giving her some kind of supplement?
Both. So he would ask me about the supplements, and he would also told me that he already got this supplements or vitamins that she needed to take because she needed it because she's going through a midlife crisis.
And did you make any observations of your sister during that time that seemed concerning to you?
No.
What did you say in response to Larry calling you or texting you about these things?
I don't think I did. I don't recall responding to it. But it's just because I don't believe my sister's going through it.
Did you talk to your sister about it?
No.
Why not?
I just didn't think that she needed it. Like she needed my advice or anything like that. Because I know if she is going through midlife crisis, she can overcome it.
And what does that even mean to you, midlife crisis?
Like depression and possibly not doing good in life.
And did you make any observations that she was having any signs of depression or not doing well in life?
Not that I know of. She's actually doing good in life. I mean, she's doing great at work. She's being sent to the different states to represent her job. She has like off job. She went to Virginia and she went to Hawaii for a job.
Did she seem to enjoy herself in the outings that you would
Correct, yes.
go on with your family?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to observe your sister with her children?
Yes.
And what was she like as a mother?
She's hands-on. She's always taking care of the kids. She will make sure they're okay, and she wants to make, like when we're out camping, she will take them out to ride in the quads. So she would let them be kids.
Did she like to participate in those activities with them?
Correct, yes.
Was she affectionate with them?
Yes, very.
What do you mean by that?
She will show love to them, taking care of them. It's like a mother would be.
Looking at 3-6, do you recognize what these have Facebook pages at the top 6118 and 6132? Do you recognize where those photos are from?
Yes,
First of all, who's in the photo on the left?
that's my nephew, Mark,
Who are his parents?
my sister Jane, and Tilly,
And then who's on the photograph to the right?
my nephew, Lazarus.
And what do you recognize where these photos are from?
Yes, we're having a birthday party celebration for, I believe, Lazarus and my nephew James,
And whose parents are James?
JR and Genesis.
Does James and Lazarus, they have birthdays that are close in time?
Correct, yes.
And so tell us a little bit about that birthday party.
We celebrated at my house in Moreno Valley, so we usually throw birthday parties for the kids. We got the jumper going, and we got a couple piñatas for them. And
Was it common for you and your siblings to celebrate the birthdays of your children together?
yes,
So again, not just in 2020, was this something that was common over the years?
correct.
Do you, and do you remember what time of year then this birthday party was? That's
Yeah,
the
it's-
photographs from 3-6?
yeah, so it's 2020, October 2020.
Tell us, do you recall if Larry was there at this birthday party?
Yes,
And was there anything unusual that you observed during this party?
nothing.
Looking at 3-7, do you recognize what those, there's two photos in this photograph, Facebook page 6135 and 6145. Do you recognize the photos in exhibit 3-7?
Yes,
And where are those photos from?
it looks like it was taken inside my house. On the left side looks like it's Lazarus' birthday, and on the right is when looks like Lazarus and James' birthday also. So they have both cake.
So would this be the same event as 3-6? In other words, this is the same party, photos from the same party?
It's a yes,
And you were the one who hosted that party?
yes,
Was it common for your sister to plan events for her children's birthdays?
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, she loves celebrating birthdays for the kids, so she loves planning it for them. So every birthday for the kids, we try to celebrate it.
Looking at 3-8, what is that photograph of?
This looks like it was taken at my I'm not really familiar with this picture.
Okay. Do you recognize the people in the photograph?
Correct, yes.
And are those your siblings?
My siblings, some friends. Yeah, and Larry is there too.
Looking at 3-9, do you recognize what's in that photograph?
Yes, it's another birthday celebration.
And were you there for this birthday celebration?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you see your sister in that photograph?
Correct, yes.
Where, just to orientate us, where is she located in that photograph?
She's on the far left, midway with the pink, pitch colored shirt.
And then kind of located right above her, who is that person?
Above her is my sister-in-law, call her Trix,
What's Trix's real name?
Jennifer.
Spelled with a J.
It starts with a J, yes.
And then kind of just down below where May is, who's that? There's an adult female, who's that person?
That's my sister-in-law, Genesis.
And then there's a little boy kind of with a plaid shirt, who's that?
Last is
Looking at photograph exhibit 3-10. Project that one up on the screen. Do you recognize this photograph?
yes,
Okay, and where was that photograph taken?
Glamis, Thanksgiving Day.
Did you and your siblings spend Thanksgiving together?
Correct. Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that trip.
It's another Glamis camping. So we spent together Thanksgiving that day.
And do you recall how many days you spent in Glamis for Thanksgiving?
Usually about 3 to 4 days.
And what kinds of things did you do during the 3 to 4 days?
Riding, camping, in the desert, bonfire, turkey on the sand. We dig a hole and put a turkey in the hole in the sand. So it's been our almost kind of tradition.
How many siblings, were all your siblings there for Thanksgiving?
No, not all.
Okay. Who was there for Thanksgiving?
My sister May and her family, and my sister Jane. I believe my brother Mike.
Was May there with her children?
Correct. Yes.
And was Larry there as well?
Yes.
Did you make any observations of their relationship at that time? How they interacted with one another, Larry and May?
Not much at that time. Yes.
How did was your sister May interacting with her children?
Yes.
Okay, and was there anything unusual about the way she was interacting with you, your siblings?
No.
Was there anything unusual about the way she interacted with, between her and her children?
No.
And so how was her attitude? What was her demeanor like?
Just happy. She's everybody's happy being there and just want to go out riding and have that high spirit that we're out in the desert and having some camping time.
What is your sister's demeanor like at family events like this? I mean, is she quiet? Is she talkative? Is she kind of describe the way she usually is?
Very interactive, with everybody. And sometimes she's also sometimes get quiet and be on her phone, but most of the time she'll be out riding. She has I believe in this time she has a dirt bike that she just got. So she was into riding her dirt bike, and she would take her kids out in the quads.
And what about Larry? Would he go out and ride the motorcycles, the quads, and things?
No, not on Thanksgiving. But I would say he wouldn't ride the quads. Probably just once, but he doesn't go out and do the riding.
What would Larry generally be doing on a trip like this? Or what was Larry doing on this particular trip, Thanksgiving?
He stays mainly in the camp. Just mainly in the camp, like trying to tidy the camp, and I hardly notice what he really does, but he stays in the campsite mainly.
And so where were the children?
They will be out, playing around and in the camp area.
And so if they were out on motorcycles or quads, was your sister usually with them? Was Larry generally with them, or were they on their own?
My sister usually with them, or sometimes when they're riding around the camping area, then Larry sometimes watching them go around the area too.
But was he participating on riding the motorcycles with them, or more watching them?
More watching them, yes.
And your sister, was she more watching them or participating with them?
Riding, yes.
What, kind of looking at photograph 3-10 or exhibit 3-10, tell us a little bit about your relationship with your sisters.
We're close, but we're not the type of people where we'll open up everything to each other. But we love spending time together. So that's what our relationship is. Just being together is good for us.
Counsel, did she describe who's in the photo?
Oh,
Did I miss
Thank
that?
you, Your Honor. I think I may have neglected to ask, who is in this photograph?
That's me on the left side, and then my sister May in the middle, and my sister Jane on the right side.
And so there are some relationships with siblings where they tell each other everything, and some where they're more private. Can you kind of describe how it was between you and May in particular?
We're more private, but sometimes she would tell me things when we're together, but we're not the type of people that will call and then, hey, this is what's going on.
You had described earlier that you kind of were almost like a parent figure when you were growing up in Hawaii. Did you have almost more of a parent-child, or not child, but kind of being the oldest, kind of more of a maternal relationship in some ways, or?
I don't feel that way, but it just happened that I just got in that role that I take care of my siblings, and I guess it just became my rule.
Did it continue up into the present?
Yes.
You're still close with your siblings.
Yes, we still take care of everything. When we go out camping, we're the one that will take everything with us, take care of everybody with the food and all that. So even though they have their own family, we still take care of them. Want to make sure the kids has their juice and their drinks when we do go out camping. So we bring everything to us, and all they gotta do is show up.
Looking at 3-11, exhibit 3-11, in the binder, do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that photograph?
It's Christmas Day at my brother's house.
Were you there?
Yes,
And which brother was?
my brother JP.
So did your family celebrate Christmas at JP's house? This would be December of 2020.
Correct.
And who's in this photograph?
There's Larry, Lazarus, Lara, Mila, and my sister May.
You said Mela,
Mila.
and we previously referred to her as Melani. Is Mela a nickname that your family calls Melani?
Correct, yes.
Do you know how would that be spelled?
It's Mayla.
And who all was there for Christmas then? If you recall.
Most of my siblings and most of the cousins.
And when you refer to the cousins, you're talking about your siblings, your
Kids.
children and your siblings.
Correct,
children?
yes.
And did you notice anything unusual about the interaction between Larry and May at Christmas?
It's very obvious that they were having conflicts or they were fighting.
Tell us a little bit about that.
it's Larry would go and talk to my sister, but my sister doesn't want to talk to him, so she just kind of like brush him off, and or she would be like awfully quiet too, not interacting much with the family.
And was that unusual?
Yes.
Why?
Well, you could actually see the like the tension between them at that time. So it's very unusual. It's just, she's not very happy at that time. You can actually like sense that there's something going on.
Was it something about the way she, was the way May was acting at Christmas different than the way she would have acted previously? Or
Yes.
acted on prior Christmas? Tell us that you can explain that a little bit more.
She was more like Larry would be talking to her like quietly, and then she would just get mad at him, like she's like irritated by him.
Just for the record, the witness had her right hand kind of up at her right ear and kind of moved her hand downwards in a downward facing motion with her palm down towards the ground.
That was when describing the irritation.
Yes. And how would Larry react to that?
You could actually tell from his face that he was actually mad too.
And knowing Larry at that point, it's December of 2020, so how many years had you known him at that point?
About 19 years.
And so you've had a chance to see his reaction to different things over the years,
Correct, yes.
seen him happy, angry,
Right.
some emotion. Tell us about why it is that you thought you were processing his reaction as being that he was mad.
That they're having a fight, like really bad fight together. And if you look at the picture, also his face is not smiling. You could actually tell that there's something going on with this picture with his sad face.
And was that the way his face, the way it looks in this photograph, is that not the way he would commonly look in other photographs?
No, he will have a big smile too whenever he is with the family.
Looking at Exhibit 3-12, I'll project that one up on the screen. Do you recognize, first of all, do you recognize the photograph?
Yes.
Okay, and that's Facebook page 139. Who's in that photograph?
My sister May and my mom, Noemi.
Okay, and do you recall seeing this Facebook post?
Yes.
Okay, and it says, me and my mama, if I looked like her at 75, I'd be happy. How old is your mom?
She's 79 now.
What in 2020, were there some concerns about your mom's health?
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that.
She suffered a cerebral aneurysm in 2019, October 30, 2019, and we're going to have surgery for her in 2020. It was scheduled in March of 2020, but because COVID hit, we didn't want her to go for a surgery. So we haven't had it done. So she does have some medical issues.
And is that something that you discussed with your siblings?
Correct, yes.
And was May part of those discussions?
Yes.
And did May express any concerns about her mom and her mom's health?
Yes.
Was among the siblings, did you have a conversation or had you had conversations about what stress could do to your mom?
Oh, yes, yes.
And was your sister May part of those conversations?
Correct, yes.
And tell us what were your siblings, including May's concerns about stress with regard to your mom's health condition at that time.
Right. So we don't want her to be, because her aneurysm is really big. So any stressors, we try to not have her exposed to any stressors. So anything, try to have not my mom be stressed.
And is that a conversation that you also had with May about your mom's health condition?
Correct. Yes.
And this photograph, was this also taken at Christmas, that same Christmas of 2020? Just if you go, actually, you can look back at it.
It looks like it. Yes, because I could recognize her shirt, and that's her shirt was the same pictures as the Christmas picture.
When you say her, you're referring to
My sister May.
And if you actually looking back at photograph 3-2, was that photo also taken at Christmas?
Yes.
Your mom appeared to be wearing that same red scarf.
Correct.
And then looking at 3-13, the 3-13, you recognize what's in that photograph.
Yes.
What's in that photograph? Who is in that photograph?
It looks like my nephew Lazarus and my sister May.
And that's Facebook page 1162. Did you see this post on Facebook? On your sister's Facebook? You don't recall.
I don't really recall seeing it on her Facebook though.
Okay. Do you recall where this photo was taken?
Yes.
And where was that photo taken?
Glamis. It's New Year's 2020 to 2021.
Did you and your siblings go to Glamis for New Year's of January 2021?
We did, yes.
So actually, if you look back behind you, there's a calendar. Friday, January 1st, 2021 is, well, January 1st, 2021 was a Friday. Do you recall when you went to Glamis for that New Year's trip?
I believe we went either Tuesday or Wednesday, but my sister, they came, I think, on a Thursday.
So tell us a little bit about how that trip got planned, or who all went to the trip to Glamis for New Year's? If you can recall, who exactly was it?
So we have my brother JR and my sister in Genesis and their kids, and my sister May and Larry was there, and also we have my Richard's cousins were there too, Gus and Catherine.
So May and Larry were there.
Correct.
Were there 3 children there?
Correct.
And then at some point, did your other siblings come as well? JP, JR, or Jane?
I don't remember if they did. I don't exactly remember if they came New Year's because we were going so many times to Glamis, so I can't recall if they did or not.
Okay. And that weekend in Glamis, what were some of the things that you did?
We were writing and campfire. We have a Christmas tree that we kind of like burned, and it was and we also had at that time my sister got her Jeep, so they were riding that a lot. Um,
When you say your sister, you mean May?
right, my sister May. Well, actually, it was actually Larry was riding the Jeep mostly. I don't think my sister was able to ride the Jeep at all because Larry was riding it more, and we were all surprised that he was doing that. He was taking it to the dunes, riding it into the sand, and he was actually having fun. It was the first time we actually saw him having fun camping with us.
When you said that you arrived, kind of looking at the calendar in Glamis, so that would have been December 31st, December 30th, sometime around then,
For
for you and your family.
For me, we usually go there first. So I believe we were there on a Wednesday because we wanted to go and secure a campsite before the family comes. So I believe we were there on either Tuesday or Wednesday, and then the rest of the family, I believe they came on Thursday.
So Thursday would have been New Year's Eve.
Correct. Yes.
And when you say the rest of the family, you said Richard's cousins and May and Larry and the kids.
Just my siblings. Richard's cousin, I believe they came with us that day.
And so Thursday, May, Larry, and her kids came to Glamis.
Correct.
There. And then who else of your siblings came?
I believe JR and Genesis.
And so they would also come on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how Larry was acting, if it was different or similar to how he had acted on previous occasions.
So he actually was having, as I said, he was actually having fun. He was out riding, which he previously not doing that. He used to just stay in our campsite. So this time, because he has the Jeep, so he was actually taking it off, riding into the dunes, and he was taking the rest of the family. Taking the cousins onto a ride. He would be gone for hours at a time, just enjoying, riding and enjoying, I guess, driving the Jeep off-roading.
And when, if you know, did your sister and Larry get that Jeep?
I believe November, end of November, summer.
And was that to be May's Jeep or Larry's Jeep or both of their Jeep?
It's my sister May's Jeep.
And was that something that she was excited about?
Correct, yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
She's been, I guess, overall been wanting to get an off-road Jeep because, we've been going out off-roading a lot. So she wanted to also get an off-road vehicle that she would be able to use. So she was very excited. I believe, if I recall, she did post it in a Facebook saying, we grew up back in the Philippines, there's a lot of Jeeps. So she's like riding, like having her, a dream car or something like that. So she was very excited with the Jeep. So she's been out also with the Jeep groups, so off-roading with that. But yeah, she's really happy with the Jeep.
And did May go with Larry that weekend in Glamis, New Year's, when he would go out with the Jeep?
No, she refused.
Did Larry ask her to go in the Jeep?
Yes.
And were you present for that interaction?
Yes.
And describe how that went.
They would argue. They were arguing a lot who would be driving the Jeep. Like if Larry will be driving the Jeep, my sister doesn't want to go. But Larry would ask her to, go with him riding, but she refused to go. She doesn't want to be with him riding the Jeep.
Was there other interaction between Larry and May that you observed that during that trip over New Year's Day, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, they seem to be fighting a lot at that time. Yes,
What was Larry's demeanor like during that time?
it's like he didn't care. They would be arguing, and my sister would be saying something to him. It's like he kind of like just brushed it off. But he was more like he was kind of like happy that he was out there
Out where?
at Agamas, and he was driving her Jeep. Like it's almost like he would be driving the Jeep to have my sister mad.
Did your sister want to drive the Jeep?
Yes.
And did you see her drive the Jeep during that trip to Glamis?
No, because Larry was taking over. He was taking over the Jeep. He would be taking it off. Getting off, riding the Jeep. But when my sister asked him for her turn to ride the Jeep, he wouldn't let her. He wants her to. He wants her to go with him riding, but she didn't want to go riding with him.
Did she say why she did not want to go riding with him?
No.
And how was this interaction between Larry and May different from, for example, Christmas? Was it different or similar? Can you describe that?
It was a little bit different because I felt that my sister was actually showing, like she's more out, like when they were fighting, like she's more showing. She's not trying to hide it anymore that they were fighting. She didn't really kind of care. So yeah, but then like previously they would, she would be quiet when they're fighting, and Larry will be telling her something. She'll be just be quiet. Or sometimes if they are fighting, they will be leaving, the area, and then they'll just, I guess, go and talk. But this time she just kind of like she didn't care either that it shows that they're fighting.
Their arguments were more public in front of the family.
Correct, yes.
And during that, I don't want to say weekend because it's actually a couple of days during the week, but I'll call it that New Year's trip to Glamis, did you have a discussion with your sister that was a little bit more open than you had previously with her?
Correct.
About her relationship with Larry?
Correct.
And where was that conversation?
I believe we were inside the toy hauler. She opened up and she said, "Get ready. I'm gonna file for divorce, and it's gonna be messy. So just be ready for it. It's gonna be a messy divorce." And we did talk about that.
Was it just, do you recall who else was in the toy hauler while you were having this conversation?
Yeah, my sister-in-law Genesis. We have Richard's cousin's wife Catherine in there too, and some of the kids. I think my daughter was there too.
How old's your daughter?
She's 19 now.
So none of the littler kids were there.
They were in and out, but I don't really recall who was inside the trailer.
But the conversation, was it directed at who? Was that directed at you?
Everybody, like she's just letting us know that she finally decided she's gonna file for divorce.
Did she talk to you at all about the finances or any concerns about the finances?
She did mention it. She doesn't have any control of the finances. But at that time, she said, I did kind of tell her maybe think about it and then have your finances squared first before filing divorce. But she said she's ready. She's not going to wait.
So you're actually suggesting that she take more time?
Correct, yes.
And what was her reaction to that?
She said she's ready. She's not waiting anymore. She said she doesn't care. It's just, she can do it. Like, she's like, to her mind, she's getting paid okay, so she will be, whatever it is, she'll be okay, financially be okay.
What type of work was your sister doing at that time?
I don't really know exactly what she does, but I know she's a contract specialist.
Do you know anything about what her salary was like?
No.
Did you have any conversations with May during that time about her access to things that were in their safe at the house?
Yes.
And tell us about that.
She said she doesn't know the access code for that, for the safe, and she knows there's silvers in there, and she knows there's cash in there, but she doesn't know exactly what's in that safe.
And did she say anything else to you about her concerns about what filing divorce might, kind of what consequence that might have, or did she say anything else to you about that?
She asked, maybe we could help her out with, with the divorce fee, but she didn't really elaborate on how it is, how it's going to be at that time.
Did she say anything else to you that stood out during that conversation?
She said actually is just, be ready. It's going to be a messy divorce. If She said, if something happens to me, that's going to be Larry.
Do you know when? Did she expand on that at all anymore?
No, because at that time, I was scared for her too, but I just told her, be careful.
Why would you say that?
Because I know Larry has that tendency to snap and be able to hurt her.
Why do you say that? Had you observed anything in the past that caused you concern?
We have incident like years and years ago, when we were at going to the mountain, and he dropped us. We were going to snowboarding, and he dropped us off. We were in the truck, and me and my sister and my brothers and my husband too, and he was gonna drop us off at the front for snowboarding, and all of a sudden he just hit the guy in the front, because the guy was not letting us go up in the by the drop off area, and he hits him and he snapped, and then he said he doesn't remember what really happened. He just kind of like blurred out, and like that was the first time I see him really got like almost like a violent. But I know in a way, like he'd probably be able to hurt my sister.
So this incident years ago was going snowboarding somewhere?
Yes.
And so when you say the guy was on
It's
a
like a
bike or in a car?
It's his like a guard, letting people know, to like parking attendant, actually. Yeah.
And Larry actually hit him with the car?
Yes.
And so in terms of your state of mind when you're listening to your sister and when you said, be careful, was this part of your mindset in terms of why you were saying that to your sister?
Yes.
And
I don't quite understand the incident with the parking attendant. whether this was a pedestrian that he hit,
Okay,
or was it a vehicle?
I'll go back.
I'm unsure.
When you were describing this incident, who was in the car at the time? The incident years
So
ago.
yes, so Larry was dropping us off at the snowboarding area or drop off us, and he was driving, and there was my sister May. It was me, my husband Richard. There's JR, and I believe there's my son Jericho at that time, and we were driving up into the drop off zone, but the parking attendant was not letting us into the drop off zone. And so Larry insisted to go up into the drop off zone. And so he hit the parking attendant.
So when you say the drop off zone, what ski place was this? Do you remember?
It's a mountain high in by Riverside area.
So the mountain high ski area. And when you say the drop off zone, is that so there's an area where someone can drop off skiers?
Correct.
And
Yes.
all of their equipment?
Correct. Yes.
And so the idea was that Larry was going to drop all of you off so that you didn't have to carry your equipment. Is that the idea?
Yes. And so we don't have to walk also because it's like a little bit of slope going up. And so the parking attendant wasn't letting us go, drive us to the drop off zone. So he just kind of like diverting it. But, all of a sudden, like Larry just, took off and hit the guy.
So
On the
you said the
sidewalk.
parking attendant,
Mm-hmm.
was he standing on
On
in
the side.
parking lot?
Right. He was directing us not to go. He was directing us not to proceed. So he actually stopped us and directing us not to go into the drop-off zone.
And the drop-off zone was somewhere that, if the parking lot attendant wasn't stopping it, you could theoretically drive into the drop-off zone.
Correct, yes.
And was it that the attendant was actually standing between you and
The
your
car.
access to that drop-off zone?
Right, but he was more on the left side, so he was like more on the left side of the truck, so he kind of like just took off, but he hit him on the side while doing that.
So what was the parking attendant doing? Was he gesturing? Was he speaking to you?
He was actually talking, yeah.
And what was he saying?
Like, stop, don't go, you gotta direct, you can't be going up there, you gotta go onto the side.
So parking attendant is directing you to go a different direction.
Correct, yes.
And what did Larry do?
Well,
He
the
just-
driver physical gestures.
Oh,
She's been done
sorry.
fine.
I think you just gestured kind of to the left with your left hand. So as if to say that the parking attendant was saying you needed to go to the left. Is that
Mhm.
accurate?
Yes,
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 and instead he went straight up a hill or something.
correct, yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about his contact with this parking attendant, physical contact between the car and this person.
So he kind of hit him on the side of the truck. So the parking attendant kind of like hit him on the side.
What happened next?
Then he continued driving and was able to get us into the drop-off zone. But we all were screaming inside, like to stop, but he kept on going.
What happened to the parking attendant?
I believe he got injured a little bit, but he was okay.
How much further did Larry drive then beyond where he had hit this parking attendant?
It's like 500 feet or 1,000 feet. I can't remember.
Did anyone from Mountain High or from the parking security
Right.
make contact with you?
Oh yeah. So we got stopped at where we actually was drop off zone. So I'm not sure if there was police that was called or, they had a talk at the office, but we're all like shocked that he did that. Yeah.
Did Larry say anything?
He said he snapped and he couldn't really remember.
Couldn't really remember what,
Why he did that.
why he did that?
Mhm.
Did you have to give statements then about what happened, or what happened after that?
We didn't get any statement, but they did talk to, I guess, the security people, whatever they have at Mountain High, but they were able to settle it. But we were so scared that he might go to, he might be taken to jail or something like that. But they were able to work it with Larry and the security people.
Were you part of that conversation at all?
No,
Did you ever see, did you see any other behavior that was concerning to you?
They passed the time.
Fair. During the year leading up to January 7th, 2021, did you see any other behavior between your sister May and the defendant that was concerning to you? Let me ask you this. Were you,
Let's give me an
Oh.
answer.
okay,
I believe throughout the 2020 was their behavior changed. I mean, like a lot of fighting. So I can't really tell much of the difference throughout the year.
were you present in their home very much during 2020?
No,
When did you go home from Glamis after that weekend, for that New Year's celebration?
I believe on the 4th.
Do you know when your sister and Larry and the kids left?
The 3rd,
Do you know what car they were driving?
the Jeep.
Did Larry and May stay at the camp during that New Year's?
They had a hotel, so during the night they go back to the hotel.
And was that in the hotel in Raleigh?
Correct.
Do you know if they brought if they took 2 cars to Glamis or if they just brought the Jeep?
I believe they just brought the Jeep.
The following day on January the 4th, did you get a text message from your sister May?
Correct, yes.
And who else was in that text message string?
My sister Jane.
In the exhibit book, I'm going to ask you to turn to exhibit 40. Just 40. You see it? May I purchase the witness journal?
Yeah.
You see exhibit 40?
Yes.
And what is exhibit 40?
It's our text message between me and my sister Jane and my sister May.
Now, you talked earlier about nicknames. Are there nicknames being used in this text exchange?
Yes, both. My sister Jane, we call her, it says Bengot, it's Bengot.
Bengot.
Yes, that's my sister Jane, and my sister May is Tammy.
So at the top of this, it says 7:18 p.m. and then underneath that there's a T with a circle and a B with a circle. So who is T?
T is my sister Tammy May, and then B is my sister Jane.
So you have them in your phone by their nicknames?
Correct.
And up on the screen, is that the text message, or is that a copy of, or projection of Exhibit 40, which is in the binder in front of you?
Yes.
And just looking first at the date, does January 4th, 2:24 p.m., does that appear to be an accurate date and time of this text exchange?
Yes.
And then the first text being from Tammy, who you've identified as being your sister May, correct?
Correct.
And so what did she ask or say to you or text to you and your sister Jane?
So she was asking if she could pawn her Rolex and her purse to borrow, lawyer's fee.
And it says, it says, I need to borrow $10K for a divorce attorney. What did you understand that to mean?
She's borrowing money. She's asking for money.
Okay. And then, can I pawn you guys my Rolexes? Also, can you take some of my LVs, the ones he won't notice as missing or not being declared? What did you understand LVs to refer to?
Her purses are Louis Vuitton.
Are Louis Vuitton purses expensive?
Yes. Yes.
And what about Rolexes? What did you understand that to mean?
It's a little bit pricey. It's a pricey watch.
Did you, when she says, can I pawn you guys my Rolexes, what were you understanding that to mean, that question?
She's desperate for money, and she's just asking us to help her out.
So in other words, pawn, like sell you her Rolexes, or what were you understanding kind of literally for that to mean?
Well, for me, for coming from her, she was just kind of like borrowing money from us, but she wanted to make sure, she's like that, like she wanted pawn, and she wanted to make sure she pays us back.
And then the next message then is 4:49, January 4th. Does that appear to be an accurate date and time? In other words,
Yes.
On your cell phone, does it automatically generate a date and time of text messages?
Correct.
And do those generally, in your experience, tend to be accurate?
Correct.
So this is a message Ben got, and I think you've already testified that's your nickname for Jane.
Yes.
And so do you recall receiving this message then from Jane, or seeing this message in the thread?
Correct. Yes.
Give them to Papa. I'll ask TOD if we have enough. When do you need it? Do you recall that being the next
Correct,
message in
yes.
the string? And then who is writing in blue?
That will be me.
And what did you say?
Telling my sister Jane, we'll have the 10,000. We'll do, 5 each.
And then the next messages are, looks like Tammy, and what does she say to you?
Consulted 2 lawyers today. We'll pick up 1 this week, so can be filed by next week after Laura's birthday this weekend.
So this was January the 4th. When was Laura's birthday?
The 10th, January 10th.
Did you commonly, I shouldn't say commonly, but was it one method of communication with your sister to communicate by text?
Correct, yes.
And did your text exchange on January 4th to be consistent with similar, the way you had communicated with her in the past?
Yes.
Do you have any reason to believe that that was not your sister communicating with you in that text stream?
No.
In fact, was it consistent with the context of the conversation you had just had with her in Glamis?
Correct.
That week then of January the 4th, did you have contact with May? Either by phone, in person, text message?
Just to the group messenger, I believe. That will be like the text message. I think that will be the last text message I got from her.
The message we just looked at?
Yes.
Did you mentioned a text thread that you have with your siblings? Was there a plan for the following weekend, the weekend of January 8th, 9th, and 10th among
Correct.
your siblings?
Yes.
And what was that plan?
So she wanted to celebrate Lara's birthday at Big Bear. So they were gonna go up in the mountain and be there Friday. I believe she planned on going Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Were you going to that?
So let's stop getting into the area. I think it's a good time to we're going to recess for lunch. We'll resume at 1:30. Back at that time.
Thank you.